What is going on, my geekdom family? Now, I know most of you guys have heard sad news that Akira Toriyama has passed away at the young age of 68. To say what this man has meant to comics, manga, anime can never be expressed. What this man meant to a lot of young people who grew up watching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and back in the 90s. It was something that was always talked about. Something that you can go to your friends, but hey, did you watch this new episode? This mess is fire. To say what he meant to people, like I said, can never be expressed. Um, I took a day just to try to process it because I was coming back to this channel sometime this week to do some videos, but I didn't think I was going to do this video. I was thinking about doing something else with Marvel, but why not just start with this, because this is like important. I remember back when we used to still have Saturday morning cartoons, and I remember watching the Dragon Ball movie. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a Dragon Ball movie when Goku was a little kid. He used to have Bulma, and I think it was just like a retelling of like them going through trying to find a Dragon Ball. And I think Ulan had um, got some panties, of course. Ulan with his panty fetish back in the day. And I remember watching, I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. And then when you, well, then when I got a little bit older, I started seeing Dragon Ball Z in the morning. I think it was like maybe, I think they did a episode or two episodes, something like that. I can't remember what. I think it was one episode. It was like early in the morning, Saturday morning. Used to have my bowl of cereal and go watch Dragon Ball every Saturday. And I believe that was the Ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z. And when it got all the way up to Dynamic Saga, where Goku steps foot on Namek, and then that's when it just stopped because Ocean stopped showing in America. That was my first introduction to Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball. Now, just like everybody else, they brought it back on Toonami and started watching it there. And I was sharing. Me and my brother used to watch it on Toonami all the time. My brother played football after school. I just came home. So what I would usually do for my brother, because we were both fans of the show, was I would record it because we had like a VCR in our room where we could record shows if we wanted to. Or anime that came on cable TV that I knew that was pretty good, and I just recorded. I I would watch Dragon Ball Z. I would record it, and then when my brother came home from football practice, we would watch it together, and that was like a daily ritual with us on the weekdays. We would watch Dragon Ball together. That was one of our fondest memories of the series. So it brought people together. I even remember when in our area we had like a flood, and our house was almost flooded out. It was just from what my father, my mother told me, because they took a boat to go check on our house. It was just like it stopped at the hill, and it encased everything as like a little island. So our house was okay. The other houses were not, but Basically, um, we stayed at a gymnasium. I think it was gold. I think it was a high school, and me and the other kids in that gym, they had like a TV set up and they had cable TV. So what did we watch? We watched Dragon Ball Z, and this is during the time where the Frieza saga was going on. And we all saw it together where Goku transformed into Frieza. I mean, Goku transformed into Super Saiyan. And Frieza was like, oh shit. And we were all hyped. And we was like, ah, and all that. Because, it was just a whole bunch of guys watching this action packed cartoon. And it meant something to us. We developed bonds over Dragon Ball because that was that special. And I will never forget that. I will never forget how Dragon Ball made me have bonds with some of my friends. We have debates, we talk about it, we we laugh, we still watch clips. You got Team Four Star making comedy clips with it. You still have people who are so touched by Akira's work when it comes to Dragon Ball. And some people, Dragon Ball was not the first thing. It was like Chrono Trigger. Um, People were introduced with his artwork. I mean, he did other stuff besides Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball was his most famous thing that he ever created, the famous world. And I think what made that kind of unique is the simple fact that you saw these characters grow. And it was because most of the time when, even American comics, right, you don't see like little boy to grown man. It's mostly like Peter Parker. They might have job changes. You might see them grow a little bit, but you don't see them as children and then work their way up to old man status or to manhood. And Dragon Ball did that. Dragon Ball was one of the first cartoons where they had progressions to where you saw Goku as a child when he first meets Bulma on that bike. And then at the end of Z, he's a mature man, older man, still loves to fight, but he has to go. Then even in Dragon Ball GT, you see the next generation with Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. You see Pan being an old woman when she was a child. You saw her as a baby in Z, but then you see in GT at the end of it, she was an old lady who grew up. Excuse me. And you just saw these characters grow. And the story still continues with the family. Dragon Ball Z was about having family and friends and growing with them through the adventures that you have in life. And who knew that this little offshoot of Journey to the West story, this remake of it, would be such a phenomenal hit across the world that it would touch the souls of millions and millions of people. It touched me. I love Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball Z. I love the concept. It is one of the greatest action cartoons of multiple generations. There's not a generation that does not know who Goku is. There's not. Everybody knows who Goku is. Everybody has seen a picture of Goku. I remember people used to draw Dragon Ball when I was in school, and they just didn't know. I remember going on forums back in the day and reading the stuff that came after Z, and people had all these fanfics about what's going to be the future. The Super Saiyan Ozaru, Golden Ozaru, or Super Saiyan with the white hair, and I used to read all that stuff. And then I started watching these Dragon Ball parodies online. You know, like I said, the most famous one is Team Four Star, but then you have Devil Artemis, who has his little funny shorts that he has, and then one that was very good was Dragon Ball Absalon. I'm not sure if he even finished that, but that was good, and he did everything by hand. It took him about 2 to 3 years. Then you had the anime war and stuff like that because people had such a fondness of this franchise that they wanted to express it through their art and stuff like that. And trust and believe, there was a lot of art teachers back in the day that hated the show because because that's all the artwork that was showing they were doing. It was like, oh, I want to draw Goku, this, and then they would. I can remember back in high school, my art teachers hated anime because it's like it's all the same. It was all the same because everybody was drawing Dragon Ball characters. Everybody was drawing Dragon Ball characters because it meant a lot. It was awesome. It was great. It was a cool ass story. That's what Akira gave us. He gave us an adventure. He gave us something to care about. And with him passing, just like our other heroes, the sad thing is about being a geek who's about to be 42 is that a lot of your heroes that made the stuff that you like are getting older. They're going to start having health problems. They are not going to be here very long. A lot of these guys are getting on the verge of retiring, trying to enjoy their lives. Or if they're not going to retire, they don't have much time left. They got more time behind them than they do in front. And so, as people that enjoyed the stuff in the 90s, if you see any of your heroes that were working on stuff in the 90s or even the 80s, make sure you give them their flowers. Just make sure you just give them their flowers. Let them know how important they are before they go on to the next life. I think what I'm going to start doing when I start going to these comic book conventions and stuff like that is that I am going to start making sure that I bring some flowers for the people that meant something to me and make sure I give them flowers at these conventions. When I see they're doing panels and stuff like that, I'm just going to give them a bouquet. Just give them a bouquet, man. Just say, thank you for your hard work. Here's your flowers. What you did on Civil War inspired me and made those dark times that I had and reading your work made me feel better. And because of that, I want to give you something. That's all you got to do. Make sure they know who they were important to you. Make sure that what they did, you are appreciative of it. I think that means more to an artist than you just buying their work. Now, buying their work, yeah, you can do that. But in hindsight, me doing this little thing that I did and putting it out there and just seeing people showing me gratitude for doing it is another feeling unto itself. So I know I'm going to be going to a convention here that's got Jim Shooter. I will get him some flowers because he did immense work with Marvel and Valiant. Valiant wouldn't have gotten as much success back in the day if it wasn't for Jim Shooter. I love Valiant. They have had some missteps, especially the new Valiant comics, but they were important because to me, Valiant helped solidify me and my brothers getting together with comics. My older brother got me into comics. He had some Valiant. Me and my younger brother had Valiant comics and used to read off each other. So Jim helped formed a greater bond with my family. So yes, I will give him flowers when I see him, as much as many others in this industry that I love, as far as comics and manga and all that stuff. Hell, even in animation, there's some people I need to give flowers. I miss Don Bluth. Don Bluth deserves flowers for me. He has created some of the greatest animated movies of our time, and he deserves flowers. So if I do have a chance to meet him, I would definitely give him flowers. But as far as Akira Toriyama, rest in peace. I know that you knew that you had touched a lot of people with your work. It's sad that you're gone, but we will never forget what you did for us. For us, that you were the man. For us, you were the man. Thank you for all the hard work that you have done. Thank you for bringing us on to this adventure that you created. I could say this to about every Dragon Ball fan right now. I wish Dragon Balls are real so we can wish you back. Until next time, peace.